Hey guys, and welcome back to another Gran Turismo video where I'm going to be going through 5 amazing tips and tricks just to help you get faster in races, qualifying, and just that little bit better at the game in general. So let's get into it. At number 1 are some settings that many people may never have dug into before. So if you go into your mid-race options and all the way down to the advanced settings, you will find the adjustment menu for the first person and chase camera views. While there isn't loads of customization with this compared to some other sim racing games, this will definitely allow you to personalize your experience. For the chase cam, you can change your camera sensitivity and how far back the view sits. I personally leave mine pretty much on default because I quite like the smooth flowing take that Gran Turismo has on this view, although if you want you can emulate the experience from other games. You can also adjust your first person view and change the position of the camera. I personally raise the height a little bit as this just lets you see more of the track when you're in this view. Tip number 2 is on the braking warning, the little red thing that flashes down here. This tip, however, is not a recommendation to use it, but rather to get rid of it. While it is very useful if you're a complete beginner, it is so inaccurate that it's pretty damn useless if you're trying to get a half-decent lap time. It can sometimes be useful if you're driving a new track for the first time, and sometimes you can get a pretty good braking point by braking a second or so after it starts flashing. It is rather inconsistent though, so don't rely on this. In these clips I've turned it on, although I'm not following it, which shows how useless it really is. It can be alright to use for a reference though, especially in races around tracks which you may not have driven for a while. The cones however seem to be a bit more accurate and they're less distracting, so this may be the right thing for you if you're trying to transition. Overall, if you want to get faster, you really need to abandon all the brake assists. After a few laps, you should start working out your own braking points, which I can guarantee will be a lot faster. At number 3 is a really cool way that you can progress and get faster, and it's through the Lewis Hamilton Time Trial DLC. If you don't know who Lewis Hamilton is, he's a 6-time Formula 1 world champion. This add-on is around £6.50 in the UK, $7.99 in the US, and $11.99 Australian. Personally, I believe this is definitely worth it if you are into this game. You get 10 tracks which you are challenged to beat Lewis's lap time around. You can set the ghost car up so you can follow his lines and see his braking points in real time. You also get a short video clip from Lewis explaining a few key things about each track. You can also watch a replay of his lap, and there are loads of credits and even cars to be earned and won. Overall, this should help you get loads faster around a handful of tracks while also improving your general driving skills. This is also a great challenge for even more experienced drivers, which is why I really like this DLC. And number 4 is your brake bias. If you don't know, brake bias is the distribution of braking force between the front and the back wheels. This is one of the 2 settings which you have access to mid-race, and it's very important, so you should make sure you're using it to its full potential. Generally, more brake bias on the rear will create more oversteer and a slightly twitchier car on corner entry, while more on the front will likely create a more stable but understeering car under braking. So you might think, well, just leave it in the middle then, although it's not quite that simple. It's often faster to have it quite heavily on one side, depending on your track and car. If you have a front engine car for instance, it can likely cope with more on the rear, as the bulk of its weight is at the front, whereas a mid-engined car will be much harder to drive with more brake bias at the back. It'll be much more oversteery as there's a lot of weight where all the braking is going. I'd recommend that you take a few laps to get your brake settings right. It's more of a personal preference thing, so try to find a setting that you find easy enough to drive while also giving you good performance. The final thing on this list is the Circuit Experience Campaign Mode. This has every single track split up into sections where you attempt to qualify to get either the bronze, silver or gold benchmark time. You then do a full lap to put everything into practice, so this is a really good way to get better at loads of tracks or even just a specific part of one track. The only downside to this is that you have to use a preset car, usually a group 3 or 4, although this is still pretty decent as these are the most common car classes. This is also a decent way to make a bit of money, so it's really a win-win. You can also earn free cars if you get a gold time in each section of the track. Overall, this is a great way to improve. Through trial and error, you'll be learning the best way to navigate every part of any track, which is sure to help you in qualifying and improve your race pace. So that's all for this video. If you have found it useful, then a like or a sub would be absolutely amazing. If you are already subscribed, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to you guys. I really do appreciate it. Don't be afraid to comment, as always. Let me know what you thought of the video, what other videos you'd like to see, and if you have got any questions, then just leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.